Hi everyone, today we're going to learn about an American artist named Wayne Theibaud, and he loved to paint sweet treats. He liked to use simple shapes to create the illusion of forms, and that is what we will be doing with our project later. Wayne Theibaud is actually still alive, and he used to work in New York and Hollywood as a cartoonist and advertisement designer. He currently lives in California. He went to school to become an art professor. Theibaud is very good at using realism in his artwork. He's best known for his paintings of objects found around diners and cafeterias, like pies and pastries. His style is known as pop art, and pop art painters and artists use things from popular culture, like food, games, and cartoon characters, in their artwork. So he became part of this movement in the 1960s and 1970s when he painted all of these beautiful images of pastries. Here are a few pop art examples. Roy Lichtenstein on the top left got his inspiration from comic books. Andy Warhol got his inspiration from simple things around the home. And Robert Indiana on the bottom right used sculpture to express his pop art love. Now we're going to look at how Wayne Theibaud used the principles and elements of art in his work. This is a great example of him using contour lines. Remember, that's the outside edge of any image. This is a great example of how he used very simple shapes like triangles and circles to create the illusion of forms. Remember, shapes are two-dimensional and flat. Forms are three-dimensional and pop up. He also loved to use different kinds of color schemes. If you look at this example, he's using purple and yellow. Do you remember if that is analogous or complementary? Purple and yellow are complementary. That means they are across from each other in the color wheel and create a lot of contrast. Here's a great example of how he uses texture. Look at the whipped cream on these sundaes. Look at the texture on the strawberry as well. How do these make you feel? They make me feel very hungry. Now we're going to look at how he's using space. Artists use space in different kinds of ways. In this example, he's using overlap. One cake is overlapping the other to make it look like it's behind it. So the bottom left looks like it's in front of the other cake because they overlapped. Here's a great example of how he's using different values. Value is how light or dark something is. He has those shadows, and then he also has the highlights. What do you think he meant by creating all of these images of pastries and cakes? Could it be a story that he's trying to tell, memories, or just creating very nice art? I want you to think about that and leave your message in our class Flipgrid.
Hey third graders, today we're going to start drawing a cake to make it look three-dimensional, just like Wayne Theibaud's. So here is one finished example that you can look at. I have one cake with one slice out and one candle on a pedestal. Some other options that you might choose to do are a cake with the cake slice, or the cake with the cake slice looking at the viewer. So I'm going to show you how to do both of these kinds of cakes, and I'll show you how to do the slice. So the first thing you're going to need to do is figure out which one you're going to create. Or what you can do is you can practice along with me today and figure out what you're going to do on your final later, kind of like a sketch. So I'm going to get a piece of white paper. I'm just using copy paper today so that I can show you both ways of drawing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to notice is that at the top of the cake is an oval. When you look down on a cake, it's going to be a circle if it's a circle cake. But when you look at it at an angle, you're going to notice that it turns into an oval. We're taking that circle and we're flattening it, like in geometry. So the first thing we need to do is draw an oval. We're going to make it kind of a skinny oval, not a really big, wide one. So just an oval. All right. Then we need to make this into a form. So if this were a form in real life, it would be a cylinder. But we can't draw it as a three-dimensional object, so we have to make it look like it's a three-dimensional object. To make a cylinder, you draw your oval, and then you're going to draw straight down on each side. Could be a really tall, skinny cake, could be a really short, wide cake, and then we have to connect that at the bottom with a curved line. So far, I have just a cylinder. Could be a soup can. Then, in order to make the slice come out, we have to draw a line across our cake and a plus sign. Okay, I know that looks a little weird. This is about the center of the cake. So we need to make it look like the cake slice is coming out of the center. You wouldn't cut just a slice from the edge, unless you wanted all of the frosting. So to do that, we're going to draw from that dot to the edge. Okay, and then we're going to go down. And then we're going to draw from this part in. I'm going to try to mimic that angle there, like so. And then all you have to do is start erasing parts. We don't need that part anymore because that slice is gone. That mass is no longer there. We don't need these guidelines, unless you want to draw another slice. And there's one cake. It's pretty simple when you break it down into the geometric, forgot a line. Geometric terms that you already know. So we have our oval, we have our cylinder shape, and then we found the center and drew the lines down. Now, on the back of this, I'm going to show you how to do the cake where the slice is looking at the viewer. It's a very similar process. So here's my oval. And then I have to draw my straight lines down. To know where the straight lines should start, if you want to draw those guidelines, that is about where those straight lines for a cylinder would start. Curve it across. Now, to make the slice look like it's right in the middle, we're going to use the same idea, going to the center, out, out, down, down. And we have to draw a guideline on the inside too, and we're going to go down the middle like this, and then in, in. Try to make those the same angle. And again, here comes the erasing. So those pieces aren't there. And ta-da! Now it looks like the cake has a slice out of the middle. Or right now it just kind of looks like a cylinder that has a slice taken out of the middle. And then you add all of your decorations and it looks more like a cake. Okay, on my example here, I drew a pedestal or plate for it to stand on. Again, it's just an oval that's being overlapped by the cake. And I drew the table line too, so it doesn't look like everything is floating. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to draw that slice. Okay, if we look at this one here, I drew the cake with a slice. And if we analyze the shapes, we have a curve on one side here, but otherwise it's a triangle. It would probably be a right angle triangle. Then we have a line going back and a line going back, and it's straight across. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's see. I have some space up here. Okay, so since our cake is round, it's going to have one side that's round, and one side's going to go straight across, and the other side needs to meet it. And then this line would go back, and this line would go back, and then they would meet, and there's your slice of cake. Okay? Please don't forget your table. And we can talk more about decorations next time as well. This lesson will use crayons and watercolors. If you don't have watercolors, food coloring in water will work as well. Or you can use markers and add water to it as well, if they're washable markers. Or you can do everything in crayon, or everything in colored pencil, or everything in marker. It's what you have at home to make your beautiful artwork. Please remember to post things up on our class Flipgrid page, okay? Can't wait to see some artwork soon. Bye, guys.